In this video, we'll be building a YouTube clone in an AI tool that has blown my freaking mind more than any tool ever has. There's just something magical about not having to know any code and basically chit-chatting your way to an app that has login, search, upload, and even comments and likes. It's crazy. This would probably take an engineer days, if not weeks, to build out just a year ago. But in this video, we'll do it in 30 minutes. Let's get right into it. Just go to lovable.dev and sign up. Or if you're the money-saving kind of person, you can use my link below to get a 10% discount. The next steps will be to follow specific best practices for AI building with Lovable. This is to make sure that we get the best possible outcome. So make sure you don't skip ahead here. Step 1, we need to stop and think. Anytime we build something with AI, this is what we should ask ourselves. What are we building here? While it might not sound like it, this step is absolutely freaking crucial because the better your instructions are, the better the AI will do its job. Because you will encounter errors when building stuff, even with AI. And although it's usually as easy as clicking a "fix this for me, please" button, we still want to avoid it as much as we can. So how do we do this? Well, we create a little list of requirements. And if you don't want to type it out yourself, you can find the prompt template I'm using in the link in the description below. Basically though, what we have is an app overview where we're kind of just describing what the app is about. Then we have a list of pages. So all the pages we want to have in our app. We have functionality per page. We have the database requirements. So we're going to have users, for examples. We're going to upload videos, likes, comments, etc. All of these things need to be part of the database. We have aesthetic and visual preferences. We have the sequence in which we want to develop. And we usually start with UI and then we get into connecting the database later. And lastly, we just have some UI details for the first pages of our app. All right, so let's jump into Lovable. I'm gonna select the little text field here, or the input field, I should say, and I'm gonna paste the prompt that we had. The next step for me is I'm gonna jump over to a Figma file where I've actually created this layout beforehand. This is gonna be helpful because it will give Lovable a very clear instruction on how I want things to look. With that said though, it's definitely not a necessity. You could just create it with a prompt straight up and it's still gonna yield very good results. For me, I want a very specific kind of UI. That's why I'm using these screenshots. So I'm gonna just take a screenshot. I'm gonna jump back into Lovable and paste it in here. Now I'm gonna change this to be a private project for now. And then we're just gonna click the button and let Lovable do its magic. Now, something I wanna say here, a little disclaimer that you might hate me for, but it comes from my heart here. I love this tool. The first time I started using it, like 5 minutes in, I just knew I had to contact Lovable and see if they would be interested in a collab. And it turns out they were interested. So this is a sponsored video. It's a collab video, but genuinely, I think this is the best tool of its kind on the market. And you'll see why with your own eyes just here. So let's let it load here and see what it comes up with. There we have the first page, like a pretty amazing job just out of the gate here. Amazing. Now let's fix the logo type in the center and the navigation. Here it is. And I'm gonna upload in the attach section my logo type. Then I'm just gonna send that. And there we go. We have the logo type here, we have the logo type here. Now, some things I wanna add is I want the navigation logo type to always link back to the welcome page if you're not logged in. And if you're logged in, we'll route it to the feeds page. Also, I want to connect the sign in button as well as the get started button to the sign in page. The sign up links should go to the sign up page. Okay, so let's see. Get started takes us to a 404, so that doesn't work. Sign in as well. Sign up as well. And since we're already on the page, I do get a link indicator here, so I think that works. Now, let's make sure that the get started button is called sign in, and that it takes us to the sign in page. All right, so let's see if this works. Nope. And you see here, we get a 404 error, but Lovable doesn't see this. So I want to make sure to tell it as I click on the sign in button, it takes me to this 404 page. Please fix that. And while this is getting fixed, you'll run into these kinds of issues with Lovable, with AI, any coding tool really, where you have some kind of error that is happening here, and Lovable doesn't see it itself. Sometimes it will know that there's an error and it will even give you a button to fix it, right? But in this case, I had to provide that context for it to understand that there was an error. And now it works. So if I click back here and I click sign in, that works. If I click on sign in here, it also works. If I click on sign up, still doesn't work. So let's fix that. Let's fix the sign up link as well. It gets 404 too. Now, if we try it, sign up works as well. Awesome. Now, the next step we want to get into is actually creating the database for our project, because if we want functionality that is more than just showing stuff on the screen here that will basically disappear, if we want to have users, if we want to have videos, if we want to have likes and comments, etc., we need to connect it to a database. And in Lovable, it's super simple to do that. So I'm going to go here to Supabase. This is like integrated into Lovable, which makes it super easy. I'm going to click on connect to a project here, my email address. Then I'm going to create a new project. In here, I'm going to say this will be food tube with 3 O's, very important. Then we're going to have a random password, and we're just going to create this new project. Now, while this is creating itself, I'm also going to mention that if you guys like this kind of stuff, like me creating tutorial content on AI, which I basically said I wouldn't be doing, but Lovable just got fire in me again for some kind of tutorials. If you like this, if you want to get more into the creative future of this AI world that we're living in, check out my newsletter where I basically cover everything that is needed to become irreplaceable in this era of AI. I have the link in the description. Now, some awkward silence, and then there we have it. The project is set up here in Supabase. We don't really need to think much more about that for now. If we go back into Lovable, this is now set up here. We're going to go here though to the project, and we'll see active projects, food tube, and we can connect it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to connect it. We're going to get this modal, click connect, and now you can see that it's connected to our project. This is important because now I want to get into the creation of basically users, right? I want to be able to create an account so we can log in. In order to do that, I'm gonna tell Lovable. Awesome. Now, let's make sure that authentication works. I'm gonna hit enter, and it gives me this SQL code here that I can read if I'm not lazy, which I am. So I'm just gonna assume that this is good, and I'm gonna click apply changes. And this is the cool thing, right? If you're lazy like me, if you don't know a bunch of code, I do know some code, but I'm not a programmer or an engineer by any means, then this, like, we can now create our own ideas like this as creatives. I'm creating a YouTube clone here just by chit-chatting, right? All right, so now it says to me that it should be set up. So let's see here. If I add my email, actually, I was thinking of having a username here as well. So let's add that. Thanks. Actually, let's also add a username to the sign up page. Make sure it's added in the database too. And there we go. So now we have the email. So I'm going to use my email, and we have a username. I'm going to go with Tim Gabe. Then we're going to add a password. I'm just going to paste something in there. And now the moment of truth. Success. And here it even says, please check your email to verify your account. So it even sends me an email to confirm my account here. So if I check for Supabase, I have the email here. If I click into it, you'll see this. It looks like it's broken. It's not though. It works. We haven't fixed this page yet, but that's fine. We don't need it because now we're validated. So if I go here, you can see that it automatically took us to the login page. I take my email, I take my password, and I sign in. Nothing happens. All right. We can fix that. So I'm telling it that the auth works, but the login doesn't. Now, though, I want to show it my next screenshot. So I want to take a screenshot of this, which is the home page or the feeds page when we have no videos, which we don't have yet, right? So I'm going to put that in there and say, this is the home/feeds page when we don't have videos uploaded. Please make sure that we end up here as we log in. Also, make sure that the login works. All right, so let's try again. Signing in, and there we are. I mean, it basically almost got it right from the start here. Some things that we need to fix, like you can see here, this is supposed to be an avatar button. The search doesn't look quite right. This image here is not quite right. So let's say, awesome. You rock. Let's update the center image to the one I upload here. I'm going to attach this image that I have. Also, let's make sure the search bar is rounded without any border. Lastly, let's make sure that the avatar icon actually has an icon and that it has a popover on click that allows you to log out. Boom. Now, I basically added a bunch of stuff now into this prompt, which could become a problem. We'll see. Sometimes it figures it out, sometimes it doesn't. Again, rule of thumb is that the fewer instructions you give it, the better it is going to be at actually executing it correctly. However, we also have limited amount of tokens that we can use unless we want to buy more of them. So it's a fine balance you have to find there. Okay, boom. It got most of the stuff right. The image doesn't look quite right. So let's say, awesome. Let's fix the image. Let's make sure the image in the center fits within the container. Right now it's getting cropped. And there we go. Now we can see here that it still has this background color from the container the image is in. So we could say remove the background color of the container of the image, please. Also, let's tighten up, or let's make the search bar shorter and add like 6 px or maybe 4 px more in padding horizontally. And there we go. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not exactly what I had here. It's not looking as crisp, I would say, but we could just continue doing this and making sure that it looks exactly like we want. But for now, this is fine. What I want to do now, though, is I want to make sure these upload buttons work. Let's say, great. Now, let's make sure that the upload buttons trigger a modal where we can upload the videos. Include all the fields needed, like thumbnail, video, title, and description. Now we got something here saying unwanted changes. So it basically asks me to just ask the same thing again, but in a different way. So let's take what I just wrote and let's say, let's make sure that upload buttons trigger a modal where we can upload the videos. Gonna keep it at that and see what happens. All right, let's see if it works. Upload, boom, works. Upload, boom, and it works. We have the title, description, the thumbnail, and the video. So if we go through this, testing, choose a file for the thumbnail, let's say that image, that video, and we click upload, nothing happens yet. So now let's say awesome again. Now let's make sure that the upload actually takes place as we click upload video. Granted, we filled out all the fields correctly and uploaded the items. And there we get this SQL code again that we just apply. Also, again, it does help. I would encourage people to read these things and to actually immerse themselves in the code as much as possible, because it's just going to be easier for you to debug and to create with AI overall. But if you are lazy like me, you're going to get by still, because the tool just does the work for us. All right, so we can see that the file is getting big. So it's asking us if we want to refactor and make it smaller for better maintainability. But before we do that, let's see if it actually works. So let's say homemade pasta. This is a description that spans something like 1 row. Then we have a thumbnail. Let's take that and let's take, do we have any pasta? I don't think so, but let's take this video. Moment of truth. Upload. And it cannot read properties of null. Reading reset. And as you'll see here now, we don't get this fix it button by Lovable in this case. So if we want to go fancy and if we want to investigate ourselves, we can click or right click and inspect. We're going to get this developer tools menu. And if I go to the console here, you'll see this little, what we call it, these arrows up here. You have different kinds of tabs, basically. You choose console, And you'll see the console of everything that's happening here with requests, etc., etc., etc. Here we can go in and copy anything that looks red so that we can give some context to Lovable and tell it like what to look at for fixes. So I'm going to take these down here. I'm going to copy them and say, I get this error. Can you help me fix it? And also I get this error as I try to upload the video. So give it context, then we let it run. All right, so let's try it once again. Let's do just testing for the speed because we're lazy. Let's upload a thumbnail and a video. Let's give it another try. And now it seems like our video has been uploaded successfully, which is good. The problem is that I don't see any videos here. So I am going to jump back into my Figma file here, and I'm going to take a print screen or a screenshot of this screenshot back to Lovable. I'm going to paste it in here and say, now it seems to work. I think the video is uploaded in the database. However, once we upload the first video, we need to display it. So let's change the layout to the layout I submitted as a screenshot once we've uploaded a video. All right, so as we did that, we encountered a new error. We can see here that now Lovable saw the error itself. So I'm just gonna go to try to fix it. And here it gave us an option to apply changes because it knows, or it thinks it knows what the issue is. So I'm gonna apply the changes. All right, so now it seems like the videos are uploaded here. Awesome. It even made some of its own design choices, adding this watch now button to each. So that's good. We have that working. I'm actually going to refactor now so that it just stops asking for that. I mean, no shame on the AI for refactoring. It's a good practice, but you know, we're lazy. We just want stuff to happen. And it's happening so quickly with a tool like this that you just feel like, I don't want to spend time on that. I just want to build more stuff. But anyways, okay, so it's done refactoring. Now, if I click on watch now, nothing happens, right? It does have quite a cool hover effect on each card. We have our videos uploaded. Now, let me try to upload again just to make sure that it actually works as we want. So title, let's say Pancakes Deluxe. These are the best pancakes ever. Thumbnail. We actually don't have pancakes, so we're gonna kind of catfish the people on here, but no shame in that in this case, I think. Upload video. Video uploaded, and there we have it. I'm just going to make sure that we now can actually click into these detail pages here. So let's say once we click on the video cards, I want to be linked to the detail page of the video. And let's jump back to Figma. Let's take a screenshot once again. Let's paste it in here and we hit enter. Now let's see if this works. If I click, we get the detail view. That's awesome. All right, so not exactly the visual aesthetics that I was looking for, but it's fine. Let's now actually make sure that the comments and the likes also work. So thanks. Let's make sure that if I click like, it adds a like to the UI and in the database. The same with comments. If I add a comment, it adds it in the UI and in the database. Yadily yadish, yes. Apply changes. Okay, apply changes and apply changes. And this is the process, right? With AI, you will have to get into these errors, and then you will have to apply changes, and you will have to fix stuff, and you will have to error handle. But in the end, with the speed you're working at here, like creating an app in minutes instead of days and weeks, it's worth it. Awesome. Let's implement the commenting functionality. So basically what I did here was changing a bunch of stuff in the database, and now we're ready to actually start implementing it here in the UI with the correct components and everything needed to actually add comments. There we go. We have a comment section where I can add a comment, can post it, and we have a comment posted successfully. Cool. Now, if I click here, nothing happens. So great. Now let's make sure that we can add a like to each video. When we click the like button, I want an animation that shows a heart that hovers up and fades out seamlessly. Also, make the heart that we click red once we've liked a video. Boom. Again, have to apply changes. We need to change stuff in the database to make sure everything works. And we encountered an error, so we show the logs, pretend that we look at what's the problem here, and we say gracefully, try to fix it, my friend. Thank you. Right, so moment of truth here. If I click the like, lo and behold, we get the animation, gets red, but we don't get the number to change. So let's ask it to change the number too. Let's give it another try here. Boom. And there, after some fighting, it works. We have the likes, we have the nice little animation. We don't have the video though. So let's make sure also first, thanks, man. Let's make sure that the video is displayed in the top instead of the thumbnail. There we have it. Now we're talking. We have the video here instead of the thumbnail. I like that. Now, let's go back to the video feed here and let's click into these different ones. Let's see. Looks like it's working. We can add a like here. And the video plays. It even has sound on. If I go in here, it has another video and it's showing the thumbnail before the video starts playing, which is quite cool too. So all of this seems to be working now. The last thing, actually the second last thing, because see here, we don't have the correct numbers. If we click in, here we have 4 comments, we have 1 like, so that's correct. But here, it's not yet connected. So let's quickly do that. Awesome. Now in the video feed page, let's make sure that we also display the correct values for comments and likes. in each card. And there we go. Now we have 1 like, 4 comments, 1 like, 2 comments, and here is 0, 0. And if we go in here and check, indeed it is 0, 0. Awesome. So that is now working. The last thing before I round this off, because I mean, functionality wise, we have just one more thing. UI wise, it's still not really there. But the last thing, functionality wise, to fix is the search. Now, if I search for pan, nothing happens. So we want to connect the search, right? So great. Thanks again. I'm going to go to the Figma file. I'm going to take a screenshot of this search results. And I'm going to go back to Lovable, paste it in there and say, now let's make sure that if we type something in the search field and hit enter, it shows us the search page with results. Look at the screenshot as a reference. And as we do that, we get an error. So we try to fix that.
3, 2, 1.
All right, now let's check here. If we search, we say, what do we say? We say pan. And I search, and I get the results for Pancakes Deluxe. If I go back and I search for home, I get homemade pasta. If I click in and I click like, we get a like. It seems like everything is working now. We have built ourselves a little YouTube clone in the span of, again, minutes instead of days or weeks. Now, if you want to get notified whenever I discover something new when it comes to creativity, surviving in the AI age, becoming irreplaceable as a creative, then check out my newsletter. Again, the link is in the description. With that, have an amazing everything, and we'll talk soon.